Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back with another video, and I have something really cool to share with you guys. A representative at Damien Saber reached out to me and offered to send me one of their Damien Saber lightsabers to review on this channel. This isn't a sponsored video, they didn't pay me to do this, but they did send me this lightsaber, so shout out to them for that. They had quite a few options to choose from, but for me, it was a no-brainer. Had to go with Luke's Episode 6, Return of the Jedi lightsaber hilt. Green is my favorite lightsaber color, and peak Luke is in Return of the Jedi, so for me, this one just made so much sense. But the nice thing about these sabers is you aren't reduced to just a specific color. I have the XRGB 3.0 version, and it actually can change colors, and it has a pretty extensive color palette. You can make this thing whatever color you want it to be. So now I can finally live out my EU dream of Luke becoming evil. So regardless of what hilt design you gravitate towards, you always have plenty of options as to what color you want your lightsaber to be. And one of the nice things about these lightsabers when it comes to customization is they have a number of custom sound and light profiles that you can switch between that actually have their own colors and sounds associated with them, as well as blade effects. So right now I have it on the setting that is basically Luke's lightsaber, because I didn't want to have to go through and select the specific green color that I wanted, but there's also a bunch of other options. I think the profile that by far impressed me the most was this red flickering Kylo Ren kind of effect that they have. And this is really cool. You guys know how I feel about Kylo Ren, and the fact that there's this animated kind of design on this lightsaber blade is just so freaking cool. My first impression when handling this thing is it feels really good. It's made with a pretty high quality metal. It has a good amount of weight to it. It feels like a premium item in your hand. It feels like a real prop. It has that classic lightsaber hum sound to it. And it has a bunch of different sounds it makes when you move it around, and you can also clank it. It has that classic lightsaber hum sound, and it also makes a bunch of different sounds depending on how you move it around. So it feels like I'm holding a real lightsaber, of course without all the safety risks. Now I know some of y'all are going to be concerned with how much actual damage can you inflict with this thing, and I will say, giving it the old bang test, it's pretty sturdy. You can definitely stage some actual lightsaber fights if you or your buddies were to get a couple of these, or you stroll up in the wrong neighborhood, some dudes run up on you, you need to defend yourself. This baby, you might be able to do some damage with it. But in all seriousness, if you did really want to do some damage with this thing, this hilt is pretty solid. You could probably knock a dude out with this. As for pricing, the version that I have is $159 on their website, which I'd totally say is worth it. But if that's a little bit too much, they do have a $119 model. And from what I can gather on the website, the biggest difference between the two is the $119 model doesn't have as sensitive as motion control, so you're maybe not gonna get the whooshes and whumps whenever you move it around as accurately, but I'd still say the 119 version is probably gonna be adequate for most people. Truthfully, the only real issue I have with this thing, and calling it an issue even feels like a bit of an exaggeration, is just the fact that using the controls to operate this thing is quite a bit of a learning curve. Now if you have the app, this is pretty much a non-issue, and the app works well. In fact, I'm using it right now for this video, and it's doing everything I want it to do. But if you don't want to use the app and you just want to use the controls as intended, this thing is packed full of controls, and it actually is pretty cool that you can modify the color, the style of the blade, and all these different things directly from the handle using a series of button presses and motion controls. But I feel like those things are cool. However, I feel like the main functionality of the lightsaber should be simple enough for a person to pick it up, press the button to turn it on, and then press the button to turn it off. Now when you pick it up, the button to turn it on is pretty simple. You just click it once really fast and it turns on. But to turn it off, you got to do this long press of 3 seconds, and then it eventually turn off. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but I just feel like it should be, click to turn on and then click to turn off, not this weird blast thing that it does. That's honestly kind of nitpicky, but I would say that's my only real issue with having been using this thing. So my overall impression with this thing is it's just fun. I've never owned a high quality lightsaber like this, and having it, just swinging this around in my room, I've had so much fun with it. I love acting out my favorite Star Wars scenes with this thing.
Tell them to bring out the whole restaurant. Tell them to bring out the lobster. I cannot wait. Yo, tell them to bring out the lobsters. Tell them to bring out the lobsters. Tell them to bring out the whole ocean. Tell them to bring out the whole ocean. Tell them to bring out the whole ocean. Tell them to bring out the whole ocean.
So if you want to purchase one of these bad boys for yourself, the link will be in the description below. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.